Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me today. For those of you that are regulars, you'll realise by now that I don't actually do much printing. And I think that's mostly because I haven't tried printing because I enjoy drawing. I enjoy picking up a pencil or a pen and having a good draw, and so I think that's perhaps why I've never really tried this type of printing and things, and it's something I'm not really familiar with. And so the reason for this video today was, as I was scrolling through Instagram this morning, this little video clip came up, and on that they were doing this tea bag monoprinting. And I thought, well, that looks like a nice idea. And at the time I was a little bit busy, and so I thought I'll come back and have a look at this later. And then of course I couldn't find it. So I couldn't find who'd put that video on or the tutorial for that. So I've just sort of made this up as I've gone along, and I think I'm doing pretty much what the lady was doing there. But I really can't remember who it was. So if you see it, let me know please, that'd be great. So all you really need for this is some paper, a brush, some acrylic paint, some water and some used tea bags and a little bit of kitchen towel. So I'll just pop this out of the way, the paint, for a moment, and I'll take one tea bag. So if you flatten them out, so these are still quite wet, and you don't want them to be very wet, you just want them to be damp. So flatten them out so all the edges are nicely turned over and straight, and then just take the excess moisture out of that with your tissue. And then it's up to you really to choose whether you want to do something very abstract or if you want to do something that's going to actually represent something. So I want to kind of do a landscape, but only very roughly a landscape, so make it very abstract. So I'm just mixing a little bit of blue and white. These are the Amsterdam acrylic paints. So make a little bit of a sky at the top with that. Keep it quite rough and quite abstract, because you're going to get lots of different shapes where those tea leaves are lying differently, and you get different pressure points. So the sky there, perhaps bring some of the blue down to the bottom as if we've got a foreground water. A little bit of extra blue and white, so we've got a few different tones and shades going on, perhaps a little bit of blue on its own. And then I'm going to mix some red into that, so I've got a mauvey colour, so maybe some distant hills, and some white as if we've got maybe some rocks or some sun shining on a rock, or the water. A little bit of extra red and blue to make a darker area, and we'll see how we go on with that. So very quick and very abstract. So I'll just move that tissue out of the way. So you want to flatten it all out, keep it nice and flat when you turn it over. I've got it on an angle there, but it's not going to matter too much. So this paper is a mid-tone paper, it's a mixed media paper, but it's mid-toned. And then just carefully peel that off. And we can do another one. Maybe I'll put a bit more pressure on with the heel of my hand. Peel it off again. So you can see there I've got a little bit down the bottom, that's where I'd got some on there, so I've been a little bit messy. But I think that works really, really well. I think it's a really good idea to have a go at some printing. And if you wanted, you could work on top of this. You could do more. You could go carry on, fill the whole page. Or you could just do one little one and then frame it, which would be quite nice. So we'll just have a go at a couple more using some different colours. I'll go and get another piece of paper. So once again, I'll dry that tea bag out. I wasn't too happy with that first one. It's pretty, but it's perhaps not as much of a landscape as I'd like. So I'll have a bit of a better effort with this one. And I'm going to this time try not to be so messy and try and keep it inside that line. So again, I'm going to put a bit of sky at the top, a nice pale blue with plenty of white in it, as if it's a summer sky like we have at the moment. It's incredibly hot in here today. So this is just an old brush, it's not a precious brush to be using with these acrylics on here. And again, I'll put some blue at the base. And try and keep it off those edges so I don't splodge like I did last time. I think I perhaps ended up with maybe a little bit too much paint on. Some red. Make it perhaps a bit more mountain shaped. And I'll add a little touch of yellow and green. Sorry, yellow and blue for some green down here. And some white for some highlights here and there. Keeping it abstract, but mixing those colours up on there. Okay, so I think that's a little less messy. I'm just trying to keep my hands clean as well. And it would be nice to try and get this in the centre of this piece of paper, but knowing me, I probably won't manage that. So nice and firm. And actually the colour's coming through, can you see it's coming all the way through the tea and onto my hand. So once you think you've given it a good firm push down, just gently lift that off without smudging it. And I think that's a better effort than the first ones, although I do like the colours in these, are really nice. And can you see you get all that texture from where the tea has been in different areas. And just looking at it now, I think that might look nicer with white around it without the mid-tone paper. So I'm just going to have a go on this pad with what's left on this tea bag. So it'll be a lot lighter, but we need plenty of pressure on it. We could perhaps get a book or something to put over the top to get lots and lots of pressure on there. But I'm just going to use the side of my hand and try and really press down. Again, without going over those edges. You're also going to get a bit of the tea stain, don't forget, which can add to the colours. Yeah, so we've got perhaps quite a lot of tea stain at this side. I don't know if I can get that a little bit off there, that's better. So yeah, it's quite pretty that. I think I prefer it on the white. So if this original one had been on the white, I think I would have preferred that. So I'll perhaps give this one another go on here. And then what you could do is, if you came out with, you could do hundreds of these, couldn't you? It wouldn't take very long to do quite a lot. And it'd be nice actually to pop a frame round to see which ones you like the best. It sort of changes the way things look when you pop a frame round them. So just by picking one up and having a go and see what it looks like with each one, you might then choose which one you like the best. So this little frame I got from my framer, makes up tiny little frames from all the remnants that she has, so it was only cost me £1. So I quite often have little frames like this in at home, and it's good to show off your work. If you just pop a frame round, you can get a better feel for it. So I'm going to go ahead now, I think, and do a few more of these. I'll carry on videoing and pop a bit of music to that. I might fill a page with a few different little landscapes. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed that and enjoy the rest of the video, and I'll be back again with you next week with another tutorial or demonstration.